Hey y'all, from Spindle Mountain Mercantile, I am Heather. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I was happily humbled when my friend Sabrina at Sabrina's Craftnanigans asked me to join her collaboration of Thrifted Thursday videos. At the end of my video, in the description, you can find a link to everyone else in this collab who made a video about what they thrifted on Thursday. Today is the day I have been waiting for, and I think many of you have as well. Today, Iron Orchid Designs released their 2025 spring line, and it is gorgeous. You guys, they've got gilded transfers, regular transfers, inlays, stamps, molds. Oh, everything is just beautiful. Tonight, I'm going to concentrate on something I made with this mold, which is called Blossom. I think it's cherry blossoms, and a transfer, of course, I don't know really how to say the name, but I think it's called Wild Blauman. And later on, I will read you the official description of it. It's kind of a cool story. So let's go. Project number 1. I found this frame when I was out thrifting and just really liked the size of it. It's kind of bulky. And this was before I knew how to make something have some gilding show through by using wet distress. So now that I know how to do that, I was so happy I found it in my stash. I gave it a really good cleaning, and now I'm painting it with Debbie's DIY paint in the color Beadboard. I'm doing 2 coats, but it's really highly pigmented, so depending on what you're putting it on, you might only need 1 coat. I did not use a base coat because I want to, well, actually, you know what, you guys, I didn't use a base coat because I never use a base coat. I just slap that paint right on anything and it almost always sticks. But I want this gold to show through, and when I wipe down the paint with water, because it's chalk paint, it will reconstitute itself, and that will show whatever the bottom color is, or if it's natural wood, whatever's underneath your paint, that's what you'll see when you do a wet distress. Because it can be reconstituted with water, you do need to make sure you always seal this paint. I sell this paint in my shop, but I don't ship. So if you can't get to my shop in upstate South Carolina, you can buy directly from Debbie, and she gives me a link that I can provide to you. If you use that link to buy something from Debbie, then she'll give me a small thank you, but it won't change your price, so you don't have to pay any more. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Thank you if you do that. And thank you, Debbie, for doing that. I almost took out this part of the filming because you really don't have to paint the cardboard behind where your pictures go. But I didn't know that when I was doing this. I didn't know what route I was going to take, or if I was going to leave some places blank so people could imagine their own pictures in there. I left this part in because you could do this and then apply your transfers directly to that cardboard. I cut some other cardboard out and put the pictures on that, and that way people can take it out if they want. Well, I mean, I glued them in. They could probably pry them out though. But this is a good idea if you want to put transfers in a frame and that's what you're doing with it, so you're not going to change that picture. Now we're wet distressing, and it's super easy. You just take a wet towel and you wring it out really good, and I keep a spray bottle so I can keep getting it wet, and you just start rubbing off the paint. That's it. That's how easy it is. You can also use a wet wipe or like a damp paper towel. I just prefer these because it's easier. And it is kind of nice. I don't have to put so much trash in the landfill. We don't even go to the dump enough for me to make that much trash. And I do a lot of wet distressing, so it really adds up. You can do as much of this as you want or as little. I was my towel was going in places I wasn't really expecting, and I didn't realize I had pressure because look, you guys, look, I'm using my right arm. I got my brace off a couple of days ago, and boy, does it feel good and free to not have to wear that anymore. Anyway, I didn't realize I was putting some pressure, so it did a little more than I planned, but after I got done, I thought it was really good. And the more I found out about the transfer that I used in this, I thought it was perfect because these transfers are based on something very old. Let me read you the actual description from the Iron Orchid Designs website. Meet Wild Blauman, a transfer that celebrates the botanical beauty of wildflowers in the spring, inspired by striking hand-colored artwork from the 1794 book, now bear with me, Nederlands Bloemwerk. It's something that I think I read at IKEA in the place where you buy high chairs. Anyway, Netterlich Blaumwerk. This transfer embodies late 18th century botanical art with its stunning illustrations of wildflowers and whimsical insects. Now, doesn't that sound like something totally cool that should go in this frame? I was shocked. I was like, yep, that's the one. So here I'm just kind of piecing some together, and some of it I'm using like the whole entire picture. There's a lot of little stems in this book that have one flower, so that was kind of fun to make a little bouquet in one of the pictures. That black grid is a buffer that you use between your pictures and the glass, and I just popped it right out and I used it to outline the rectangles I needed on another piece of cardboard to make a background for each of the pictures. And then I cut around the line just a little bit bigger so that, you know, you wouldn't see the line. And I turned it over and I painted the whole thing white. Specifically, I used white linen in Debbie's Cottage Color, which is a 3-in-1 paint with the base coat and the sealer. I really had fun piecing together my little scenes for this project. It was fun making the bouquet. I got to add some little bugs and some butterflies, which I guess are also bugs. So here's something I never realized until I was an adult. I always thought butterflies were so pretty and beautiful and just these wonderful creatures that just had nothing ever wrong with them. And then I grew up and I found out that they eat poop. Ugh, it kind of dashed how beautiful butterflies were for me. Kind of turned them into moths. I still think they're beautiful, but I hope I didn't just tarnish butterflies for you too. Maybe I should just stop talking now and let you actually enjoy what I'm creating. I picture somebody coming in my booth and liking this so much they decide not to put their own pictures in it. I mean, it's got all the things. The little frog is catching the fly and his friend's mad, so he's looking the other way. And there's a hummingbird getting some nectar. It's just so cute. Don't you think? Project number 2. I'm pretty sure in the entire history of recorded time, there's never been a crafter who didn't have a ton of embroidery hoops hanging around. I've wanted to make something with these for a very long time, and when I found out y'all like drop cloth projects so much, it was kind of a no-brainer. So here's what I wanted to do. See that? Isn't that pretty? Well, look up close. Do you see those cracks? Yeah, I tried to fix them. There's no fixing them. So here's what I ended up putting on it after that. I took the whole thing out and I'll use it for another project, but I learned my lesson. This is where I messed up. I tightened the fabric after I put the transfer on the drop cloth. I should have tightened it first. I didn't do it because that didn't make sense to me that I could only put the transfer on when it was kind of bouncy like a trampoline, and it just didn't make sense to me. I thought that's never going to work. I have to put a lot of pressure when I do a drop cloth transfer, but I didn't have to. Check this out. I don't know if you can see there, but where I'm rubbing the transfer stick underneath it, the transfer is already releasing and I'm barely rubbing. Can you see I'm using the corner of the stick? It was awesome. It came right off. So if you do one of these and you use a transfer, make sure you make it super tight first and then put your transfer on it. I don't know why I got so nervous about not having it stick to a piece of fabric that wasn't like on a hard surface, because you guys, these are so easy to use. If you haven't done a transfer before, here's what you do. That plastic sheet, it's called a carrier sheet, and that little stick is a transfer stick. Every transfer book has a transfer stick with it. So you put your transfer down where you want it, and then you just rub it with your hand. Then you take the transfer stick and you rub the entire piece. Then you go with your one hand and pull back a corner, and as you pull back that corner, wherever it lifts from the piece, you use the transfer stick and you pull back and rub and pull back and rub, and you just keep going in one continuous motion. If any of the pieces of transfer don't stick to your object, then just put the carrier sheet back down and rub it again, and that should work. Sometimes it doesn't. Usually for me, the only times that doesn't work is if I don't wait for the paint to dry, which is way too much more often than I prefer to admit, but it is what it is. I had so much fun making these, putting all the different things together. The one thing I didn't have time to do is seal them. This week was crazy. My husband had medical stuff. I had medical stuff. I've already done PT twice this week. I have it again tomorrow. We had the release of the new product, and I went to my shop for that, and so many of you guys showed up. I can't remember if I said that earlier, but you did, and that was cool. It was like having all these friends come to see me, and I felt kind of special. It made my heart feel super happy and my head feel really huge. So thank you to those of you who came down to see me. That I felt super blessed. To finish the back, I just used a glue gun and flipped the fabric over and went around, glued the whole thing. If there's any extra pieces, I just glued those to the part that I had first glued down. And I added the lace right to the wood. I wasn't going to put any lace because I kind of thought it looked done enough. And then I found this piece of lace that was the exact right size. So I thought it was serendipitous and I was supposed to use it. I'm glad I did because I think it looks really cute. For the bow, I used burlap ribbon and a burlap bow that, well, no, it's a flower actually. It has lots of petals. I dovetailed the ends of this, and then I just glued part of it down onto the drop cloth and the wood. Then I folded it, put a piece of glue on top and then under and on top and under, kept folding that way. You know what I mean? Like an accordion. And that made it flat enough on the top that the little flower would stick to it, and it also made it so it was scrunched up under the flower and came out the edges like the end of a bow. You guys, this is so cute. My husband, of course, he wants to keep this one. It reminds him of something his mom or grandma might have made in the 70s. I just sold something like this in my booth last week. It really is one of those things, everything that's old is new again. So pretty. I love it. I hope you do too. Project number 3. I was so proud of myself for thinking of using my sourdough scale to measure out the 2 parts of rosin. Well, I have a dear friend who has been teaching me all the things about this kind of thing, and I'm not doing it right. She said, don't do this. Go by the directions exactly. If it says to use a weight measurement, then this is good, but most of them do not say that. You're supposed to measure by mass, or whatever the other thing is, you know, like a 1/4 of a cup or a milliliter. So you want to do that and not measure by weight. That said, this did turn out good. This is just the white fast cast aluminite from Hobby Lobby. You can also get it at Amazon, and I will leave you a link for that. If you use my Amazon link to buy anything, then I will get a small kickback for that, but it won't change your price. I like to use a candle maker mold. It makes votive candles, and you can squeeze it. It's silicone, so you can clean it out really easily. It's a wonderful thing to mix the rosin in, and you can reuse it. I was using plastic cups, but those aren't reusable. Because in the project I'm using air dry clay and I break up all the pieces, it didn't look like it is supposed to when it comes out of the mold. So I wanted you to see what it looks like if you use rosin, and that's why I'm doing this part. But I'm just going to save these pieces and I'll use them for later. I think it took about 10 minutes for this to set up. I put my camera on high speed and you get to watch it magically turn white. And you guys, if you watch other YouTubers and you think, oh, I can do so much better than that and not spill it or get it in between the molds, yeah, you're wrong. You can't do that. I don't care how good you are. I am yet to meet a person who does not get the liquid outside of the mold, but that's okay because these molds are super easy to clean up. How cool is that? I love watching stuff like that. When I was a kid, I got a kick out of watching, well, butterflies, because you know how much I liked them when I was a kid. I liked, they would put it on the high speed camera and you could watch it go through all of its cocoon and everything. That was cool. Okay, so you get to see what this looks like when they stay in one piece. I like to use clay because I can fit it onto whatever I'm making, but I have friends who swear by this, and you can heat it up and get it to fit whatever you're putting it on as well, and it does look really good. I like how, whoa, there was a little piece popping right out. Aren't they pretty? Well, I can't see that one. So you know how I said you can't get it not over the edges? You just take that part and pop it right off. I put them on the little bag that my scale came in so you could see them in their pretty natural state against the black. I really like them. But my thing is clay. We found a stack of these at a thrift store. Do you know what they are? Does it look familiar? It's one of those plates from a steakhouse that they put the sizzling hot food from in like a metal plate on top of it. And I decided to make a dresser tray. A lot of people use cornstarch in their molds. I use cornstarch when it's a new mold. I have discovered that I don't need it as much when they're older, probably because I don't clean them like I should and there's still some residue in there. But I do like how my molds turn out, so I guess it's okay. I just use an old paintbrush to get the cornstarch down into every little tiny nook and crevice. Nook and cranny, crevice. So to put the clay in, I like to use one piece of clay. So if it's really long, I'll like make a strip of clay. I'll roll it up in between my fingers and make that long strip. This is super easy to use. You press the clay down and there's what they call a micro rim. It goes all the way around every single individual piece in the mold. So when you rub your finger over it, that microblade kind of works like a knife and it cuts the clay. And you just keep doing that until you get it to the level you want it. I like mine to be just a little bit more shallow than the micro rim. And I'll slow it down a couple other little places where you can see that, but I'm just going to speed it up for now and do every single one of these. when I got all the pieces out of the mold, I took them apart so that they only have short little stems. I might have left a longer stem if it didn't have a whole bunch of pieces coming out. I just wanted it to be able to fit around the edge of this board. Now I'm doing something super controversial here, and people are either going to hate it or they're going to love it because it's easy. Instead of putting the glue on every single piece, I decided to just put it all the way around the rim. And I like this idea, but I think I would make sure it was a lot more smooth if I do it again, which I will do it again because it was easy. And I showed it today. I took it to my shop, and everybody who saw it thought it looked really cute. They thought that where you could see the glue underneath the paint actually looked like it was supposed to be there. It looked like part of the mold. So I'm good with it. I'm telling you, the time it saved was, I bet it saved an hour of picking up every little piece and putting the glue on it and then brushing it. That is time consuming, and I don't like it when my time is consumed by things that mean I could be doing something different. So do what you want. If you know what, it's personal preference, and that's okay. I just filled in the pieces everywhere, and you don't have to use this mold. You could use any of the molds. I mean, you could put little birds on it. You could put plain stripes or strips. I used DIY cottage color to cover it because it's an all-in-one. I used the color white linen, and this is my little handheld frother. I push the button. If you push the button once and then let go, that's slow. Then twice and let go, that's medium, and then 3 times and let go, that's high speed. And this is what I use when I'm in the house to mix my paint. I have another one too, and I'll add a description for each of those in my description. So I bought them at Amazon. They're great to have. That is rechargeable, and since I brought it in my house like maybe 2 weeks ago, I have not recharged it, so it holds a charge for a long time. Granted, I don't use it that much. I only use it when I'm mixing some paint. And these cottage colors, you have to mix. When you mix them, they're amazing. If you don't mix them, it's like, okay, this doesn't work so good. But that's user error. That's not the fault of cottage colors. That's me. I was going to say you, but it's me. It's me. I admit it. I put 2 coats on this, and then I let it dry all the way, which is the secret. So I love these little pansies. Mixing these different pictures has been so fun. I did cut a few little pieces out so that it would fit in, and then I just filled those in where I thought maybe the space was too empty. You can do this with any of the transfers too. I was gonna put, you guys, remember I told you in my last video, Tuesday, like 2 nights ago, that I was going to use the bird? Remember I was going to give you the bird? No, wait. I was going to use the bird that was left over from the video I did where I teach you to use all of the different scraps. Well, I didn't use the bird. I used the pansies. So I will put the bird on something else, but I'm going to be really honest with you right now. I can't find him, but that's okay. I still wouldn't have used him because I wanted these pansies. Yeah, I would never give you the bird. Never. None of you. Not even that one person who wasn't very nice in the comments. I'm using Debbie's DIY liquid patina in the color Golden Ticket to give this a gilded look, and I just kind of dabbed it on or brushed it on, whatever that little area where I was applying the Golden Ticket, whatever I thought it needed. If I thought it needed a stroke, then I would brush it, and if I thought it needed just a little dot, I would dab it. Again, it's up to you. I don't like to go way over the sides. I don't like to go way over the sides because I never have a good enough paintbrush that will keep it inside the lines, and maybe I'm not such a good inside the lines kind of painter either, so that could be part of it. But there's so many ways you can do this. You can brush it on and then dab it with a towel. You can brush it on heavy and leave it. You can go over the edges if you want. I have seen some people take it and just brush it in amongst like the flowers and stuff, and I thought that was pretty. So I think this turned out pretty good. You know those trays that they had back in the day where maybe it had a mirror in the middle? This kind of reminds me of that, but I think this will probably sell pretty quick. I'm not going to keep it. It doesn't match anything I have, but I do love it, and I have a very special person in my life that I think would like this as a gift too. So there's that. Isn't that cute? I guess it's pretty. That's a better word. It's pretty. I have a lot more things I am making with this new release. So you guys, I'm going to try to get out more videos than the 2 I normally do a week. So keep your eyes peeled and maybe put the notification bell on. If you haven't subscribed, obviously subscribe and share this video if you would, please. I'd love to get some new subscribers because you helped me out. But if you click that little bell for notifications, then it will let you know when my new stuff comes out. And if you don't want to get those notifications forever and you just want to know about this release, that's cool. It'll probably take me a couple weeks to get through it all. And man, I even did the paint inlays. Y'all, I was smoking. It was so fun. And I can't wait to share with you everything I made. Please tell me in the comments which of these was your favorite. I hope until you see me next time, you have a wonderful week. And as always, I hope you are blessed. Bye.